Hello everyone. And clouds everywhere and you can't see the sun or the mountains. It's just kind of crazy. Have all their muscles accentuated. You kind of understand where the landmarks are. Hello everyone. Today I have another drawing for you. In this drawing, I started kind of in the middle of the page, as I do with a lot of drawings. I was using my rapidograph. This is one of those doodles that I like to do. And it just feels really good because I know a lot of times when I think about what I want to do with my time, it's very often, how do I put this? I have certain things in my life, like if I have a backpacking backpack, or if I have my pen, or if I have a drum, or different things. And oftentimes I will kind of be like, why isn't this stuff making me happy like I know it does? And a lot of the time it's because I have a certain expectation for one thing and also an identity wrapped up in having these things. So like if I have a backpack, then that makes me somebody who's a backpacker or something like that. But really what it comes down to is just like having those things not because they make you a certain person, but because they allow you to do things. And so once I realized that it's not like that I like having a backpack, it's that I like backpacking. It's when I realized that like just being a certain person isn't necessarily what I like. What I like is doing things, and that kind of is what makes you a certain person, but it's just not about the identity at that point. It's just about doing things, and that's what I'm really trying to do more with my rapping and with my interactions and with my drawing. I'm just trying to do it, and that's where I really get the joy. It's not by making it into something more than what it is, because oftentimes that is what I end up doing. And there's a certain joy that I get within like kind of crafting a certain brand or identity, like making that invitation to play logo or making the intro for the videos for this channel or different things like that. Like that brings me a sense of like identity within that. But it's really just like, that's not where the joy is. The joy is just in the actual action of doing things. Like I can watch a video from one of my channels and be like, sure, it's cool, it's fine. But like I sometimes expect it to be just as enjoyable or just as rewarding as actually doing the thing. And then I get disappointed. Like same thing if I'm just like watching other YouTubers being productive or whatever, like if they're like self-development YouTubers, it is like enjoying and enthralling to watch people do things, but it is way more enjoyable to actually do things for yourself. And I often forget that. And so it's really about jumping into it and just doing things. And that's when you remember. And then it's just like, you just do it and you enjoy it and you don't have to think about it at all. It's not like a mental thing. You're just doing it. And that's where I'm finding a lot of enjoyment. Rapping, drawing, not being a rapper, not being an artist. It's just rapping and drawing. Those are things that I like doing. Same with backpacking. I'm not a backpacker. I just like backpacking. Anyway, that's one thing that's been going through my mind lately. I feel like I'm having a lot of mindset changes, which are really just helping make my life way richer. It's okay. So it's been a while since I've done a video. And the last video I recorded was at my parents' house because I was there and I moved out. So that's pretty cool. I'm living with my friend now. We got this place and we're renting it out, and it's been really nice being able to connect with friends from the city, and just doing things like yesterday I was helping out with a wedding. So it's just a lot more community involvement. And again, that's like another thing. It's like I don't necessarily have to have a particular identity or formulated in my head about I have these friends, whatever it may be, which is actually where my brain goes. It's really just spending time with friends. I like spending time with friends. That's it. But yeah, let's see. It was really weird, like trying to jump on this voiceover again because I haven't done this in a little while. And I noticed immediately, like this is the third time maybe I tried this. And the first couple times I was like, I literally don't know how to do this. Like I forgot or something. So it's just kind of like you pick it back up and start riding the bike again. I even looked at some of my older videos. I was like, what was I even talking about in those videos? Like, how did I even do that? And then I realized that I was literally just rambling the entire time or just talking about whatever I wanted to talk about. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. And that's what I've been doing. This drawing is one that took quite a while to do. And I'm glad because I was able to do it over many, many sittings and not just doing it all in one sitting, which is a habit that I want to continue doing, which is like taking breaks. And even so with this one, I probably could have done even more breaks, like having timers or something, because there's a certain point, and I've talked about this before, where you get to a point and then you like start drawing because you get like bored and you get unfocused on the actual piece and you make certain moves that don't really go with the piece. And so once you have like a time limit or something like that, then not only does it help to stop you go beyond that point, it also like kind of gives you that suspense, like when you have cliffhangers in a show or something like that, then you're like, oh, but you have to like stop yourself from watching the next episode. That's kind of what it's like, because really when I'm drawing a lot of the time, that's what it feels like. It's like it's a similar enjoyment that you get from like watching a TV show like Unravel or something like that, but it's honestly a lot more enjoyable. That's why I like it so much more than TV, is because it's like something that you're creating, and it's like it doesn't come with a lot of the negative drawbacks of watching TV, and it's like just like inherently a creative thing. But it really is that same thing where you're like watching this thing unfold, and you do have some influence on it. But oftentimes what's happening is you like draw something, and then it's kind of like you're playing with the piece, where you're not necessarily deciding exactly where the piece is going, but you are kind of like making changes throughout it, and it just kind of like unfolds. And so that's a really satisfying thing about drawing. Now, this channel was originally inspired by this artist called Peter Draws on YouTube. And I've been watching his content for a really long time. And I've been into drawing and art before that. I mean, I have a lot of different creative worlds that I've created. But once I started watching his channel, my whole like perspective on art and my whole love for it like completely changed, and it was like so rewarding watching his stuff. And he would basically just do the same thing that I'm starting to do right now, which is make a drawing and do a voiceover with it. Now I'm experimenting a little bit with like keeping my face in the frame too. So I'm like having the GoPro recording my face right now, and then I also have the pre-recorded footage. And I wasn't doing that for the first couple of videos. And I don't know. I am not sure how I like it. I think it's like you have to incorporate it a specific way, because the paint pens and productivity video that I did where I was painting the lighters, I had my face kind of in a really small box, just kind of in the corner or something like that, or even in the last video it was more of a small rectangle. And I think I like that a lot better than like something like the Christmas card creativity where I had my face like covering up entire half of the screen and then the drawing, because I want to bring the focus on the drawing and really like inspire you. That's really my goal, is to inspire people, because Peter Draws did that for me. And even like with all three of these channels, I really want to, that's like really my goal, is to inspire people and to create things. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing that same inspiration that I got from Peter Draws, or on the side of something like the Invitation to Play channel. Like some of the people who have inspired me are people like Ido Portal or Roy Gold or Timothy Sheaf, or, you know, various other fitness YouTube channels and people that I know in real life too that have like really inspired me. And so I just want to like share that with you. And specifically like people on YouTube that have inspired me too, because I feel like I can translate that exactly into YouTube content. But I want to take that inspiration and I want to make it my own and I want to give it to you guys. So yeah, it's just like, it's an invitation to draw if you want to draw, because that's what Peter Draws gave me, was the invitation. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to just doodle. And then I fell in love with doodling. And I fell in love with dance and human movement through the invitation that people gave me on YouTube or in real life. And I fell in love with rap through realizing how fun it was to freestyle and realizing how powerful it is. Like, words are so powerful. Somebody who has really inspired me in that regard is this rapper Marlon Craft. He's made some really powerful songs that like really spoke to me, and I was like, dang, that resonates so deeply, and I really, really appreciate his work. And one of my big goals there is, can I make that same content but through my own perspectives and goals and emotions and feelings about the world? Can I give that to people? And so that's what I'm trying to do there. Now, as you can see in this drawing, I started kind of in the middle of the page, I already said that, and then branched out, and it really feels like I just keep wanting to return back to like the ocean and to sea creatures, because there's something about the ocean that's so mysterious, and I've talked about this before, but it's like I just can't get over how amazing and alien the ocean world is. And so I went with that theme because that just seemed natural to me. And really, yeah, I like this drawing. It's one of those, I might have to do a second clip here. Hold the thought. Okay, I'm back. I had to pause for a second because I was running out of things to say. And I didn't really think of too much to say to restart the voiceover, but that's okay. One thing that I've been experimenting a lot with is this idea of sacrifice and holding a thought as kind of a discipline, to where no matter what other things are going on, there's a certain amount of sacrifice that you have to make in order to do what you want to do. And that could be hanging out with friends and sacrificing maybe something else that you wanted to do in your alone time, or hanging out or doing something like this and sacrificing anything. Really, it's like, that's such a simple concept, but once you understand it, you can really like be at peace with it. And I'm really trying to hold the thought right now, and it's difficult for me to hold the thought of this voiceover, and I want to really just, like, my impulse is just to cancel it and call it over and be done with it, but I want to try to stick it out to the end of this video, because that's the discipline that I want to continue to practice. And I think the more that I practice that, the more I'll be able to do things like talk for really long amounts of time and really hold a conversation or hold a thought, or really draw and like focus on the drawing, or do something and really have that intense focus. And this may be something that I start doing in a type of meditation practice. For now, it's just when I make a list, I hold the thought of each individual task in the list, and I don't need to do really other tasks before other tasks. It's just like really simple idea, but holding the thought. As you can see in this drawing, it ended up kind of being like this mollusk creature, and mollusk is like things like snails, and I looked up the definition, I don't know exactly, but generally those creatures have shells, or at least a lot of those creatures do. So I ended up calling this a mollusk. And there's a line in my new rap where it's talking about how I have this mollusk-like shell that I hide in when I have social anxiety, or when I am afraid of being vulnerable, or whatever it may be, or that I just don't feel safe. And that I also polish it and make it this thing where it's like, I want you to see something in particular, or it's like I try to make it work. I try to make this shell work, and I try to make it beautiful. And at the same time, I just sometimes want to come out of that shell. And so that's what I'm trying to do more and more, is slowly come out of that shell. And part of that is this YouTube video. Okay, here's another thing I was going to talk about. It is essentially the idea that I've really depended on YouTube for a really, really long time for a lot of things, because I think in part because of my social anxiety, or because of other things that have affected me in the past. And part of it is like this parasocial relationship where you are like consuming content and you're getting like the one-sided conversation and whatever it may be. And now I feel like I'm doing it, but on the other side of the screen, which is a really interesting thing. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's giving me even more perspective, and I'm loving how much perspective it's giving me, to where I can be as vulnerable as I want to on this side of the screen, but at the same time, it's not the same as being vulnerable with an actual person. So same with watching content, and I'm understanding that even if I'm on the other side of the screen, it's still not fully a relationship. So I'm branching out, making more relationships, making things happen, and loving life. Love you guys. See you in the next video. Peace out. Subscribe and all that jazz. Bye.